Welcome back to the United Pubcast for your Sunday therapy session. As usual, as sort of comes with the times in supporting Manchester United, this is our weekly edition, discussing the absolute disaster away at Brentford, Brighton, all those clubs. Easy victories, unfortunately, against Man United, but we will try and dissect the bones. And as said, not put a feel-good factor on it because I think that is impossible at the moment. But hopefully after this chat, obviously got Josh and Borche with us. Might have one or two additions later on in the show as well. Hopefully you feel a little bit better after the show. Please do leave a like on the video if you sort of braved the conditions and got up at 2:30 a.m. to watch the match, or if you went to the match at Brentford or wherever you are around the world. It would be greatly appreciated and really cheer us up. If you could leave a like on the video, and if you are new, if you could subscribe, that would be great. But I've got Josh back on the podcast with us, and Borche from the Football Capital, and his channel is in the description below, so go give him a follow. And I'll start with you, Borche. We'll discuss in a little bit before we went on air. What do you want to talk about? What's the feeling in regards to, do you want to talk football? Do you want to talk owners? Do you want to talk anything else? Because we've had this discussion so many times. So I don't know whether to have the same discussion, with a different spin on it. Is there something new to discuss that I haven't been aware of? I'm just lost for words.
Yeah, I'm with you, Tom. I'm with you. I don't know where to begin as well, but let's start on the football. Let's start on the football because we know every conversation about this club ends up at the owners anyways. So let's start with the football. And you thought from last week, the performance there, you thought there had to be some sort of bounce back. Anything, even early on in the season, let's get the result, especially with the new manager. Let's get these results on the board. Let's get the 3 points and work on the philosophy, work on the whatever tactics the manager is putting out at the moment. Work on that throughout the year. I told you my prediction for United, or what I expected for this season, was let's not focus on when we finish on the table, but the football needs to get better. So if we come 8th, but there's progression in the football, then that's cool. But at the moment, I don't know. It's like these players. It's like these players turn on a switch, and they completely. It's like we were the team that came up last season, not Brentford. You know what I'm saying? So I don't even know where you begin. Like you know the philosophy that the manager wants to play. We seen it last week. Maguire every time playing out from the back too slow. Decision making takes forever. You should already be thinking, it's a goal kick. When it's a goal kick, you better be looking around. My next pass is going to go to him. It's already been orchestrated in training. Yeah. When I get the ball's going to go play to him. Whether Fred or Ericsson in this case drops in, this player makes a run. Everyone knows where or should know where to go. Maguire gets the ball. He stops play for 5 seconds and then makes a decision. There was already a warning sign in the first game. A warning sign when you had to kick it out or kick it into their player early on. And then we cop that sort of goal. All right, David De Gea, questionable again. You've made more errors leading up to goals than any other goalkeeper in world football, and you're the most expensive goalkeeper. That has to be looked at. This window, we've got 3 weeks.
There's a few reports coming out in regards to goal, and Ten Hag obviously has other priorities, but in regards to maybe increasing whatever budget he does have at his disposal in regards to bringing in a potential sort of reserve goalkeeper to challenge David De Gea. But Josh, just on that point Borche makes there in regards to, let's keep this football related because obviously this discussion later on will go into different sort of avenues. But I'm just thinking, can we put? I'm not doing this because I've seen this over the last 10 years, but specifically to Erik Ten Hag in the start of this season. Can we put it down to 2 off days? Now, I'm not doing that, but in regards to the preseason was good. There was good football. There was good signs in preseason and what Erik Ten Hag was trying to implement. Suddenly, the ball's being kicked in sort of for real when points are up for grabs, and it looks the furthest thing from what we saw in preseason. So there was progression. There was development. Suddenly, there's not any more. Can it just be 2 off days? Now, I don't think it is. But is there a case of, obviously, we are going to overreact a little bit as fans. Now, we're in drastic circumstances at the moment. I think the overreaction is justified in this sort of circumstance, but football-wise, is there cause for concern in regards to what Erik Ten Hag is trying to do?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, look, you can have 2 off days in any season. You can have off games where you've just been lucky not to win. I think what United demonstrated yesterday was just absolute naivety on and off the ball. You look at United going 1-0 down in the past, and you think, okay, it's going to stay 1-0 down, maybe go 2-0 down, but you back yourself to put up a fight. To capitulate 4-0 after 35 minutes is nothing short of disgraceful. Some of the football we were playing as well, trying to pass from the back when we 2 or 3-0 down. And Rob puts it great over there in the comments. The team's absolutely spineless. I think the thing for me, what resonated for me in the game, which was absolutely just out of this world, was Bournemouth set pieces. Pinpoint probably about 2 or 3 occasions where they had a corner. And the opposition, they were taking 2 or 3 touches in the box without anyone closing him down. I don't think I've ever seen that in my lifetime with United. Allowing the opposition to take a decent team would have been scoring them.
Just on that point,
2 or 3 touches, passing it down. Oh, shocking.
Just about Borche, just that point Josh there makes in regards to, he sort of alluded to Rob's comments there in regards to team is spineless. Once, what was it, 34 minutes or whatever it was, in terms of those 4 goals were scored. After the first goal, now I wasn't saying, okay, Brentford has going to go 3 quick goals here and it's going to be 4-0 before half time. But ultimately, the signs were there after that first goal. No one could really be genuinely, if you sort of sit back and have a sort of level-headed think about it, there's no shock we're 4-0 down at halftime. Once that first goal went in, there was that capitulation. It was fully expected. Now, we can sort of pinpoint reasons for this in terms of players aren't good enough, no leadership in the team, the captaincy issue around Harry Maguire, all these different issues. But Rob's there saying the team is spineless. And as soon as that one bit of pressure, pre-season, in front of fans across the world, all want your autograph, it's nice and easy there. When points up for grabs at Old Trafford or in the English Premier League, as soon as shit hit the fan, the players just, they don't have it. They don't have what it takes.
It's a mentality thing. You can have all the quality in the world, but if you don't have the mentality, it's not going to happen for you. And you've seen it with players. Let's just say like Angel Gomez. He was meant to be a prospect coming through the academy. Didn't have the mentality. Ravel Morrison, same thing. Great player. A lot of the legends of our club were saying this kid was meant to be one of the greatest players from what they've seen from him in training. What happened? These players don't have the mentality, and to think that our starting 11, your Rashfords, your Ronaldos, your Sancho, Bruno, and then the rest of them, Varane, De Gea, especially, for them not to have the mentality week in, week out to put in these sort of performances, I don't even know where we go from here. You got 3 weeks of the window shut. These owners, I know we're already there, see, already at the owners, they need to come, they need to show up, they need to show face and say, what's happening here? Any business, we're running any sort of business you run. Doesn't matter if it's a football club or a corner store. Yeah. If something's not going right, you don't start, it's your workers or it's the manager. The owners has to come knocking and go, hey, what's the go? What's happening here? Why are we getting the result?
It's a two-way thing though, isn't it? I mean, like us as fans, we get really excited when you hear something in the news. Erik ten Hag demands players eat together. Great, love to hear it. Show some team unity. At the end of the day, I want to see good football. And this team does not have the brain cells to play the philosophy of football Ten Hag wants, and it really demonstrated yesterday, specifically around playing at the back. I get what you're saying. It's just, it's just never ending.
What does there look? There's a few people in the live chat. We do appreciate. Apologies for not getting to too many comments. There, we're flying in, and that conversation just sort of got the ball rolling. So I did stick with the conversation, but do get your comments in, and I'll try and get to as many as possible. Just in regards to Erik ten Hag, Borche, in regards to, we talk about our players and their ability to play up from the back, and that is what Erik ten Hag wants to do. That's great. Is he doing it with the players he wants? Probably not. But there is a respect, and you can understand a manager in sticking true to his guns. That's how he wants to play football. He definitely has that. Now, De Gea, and that obviously at times you can, so they do sort of agree, okay, everyone push up, we'll pump it long. That's obviously not what Erik ten Hag wants. But there were times, case in point, in the second goal, Christian Eriksen. Now, I'm not going to go too hard on Christian Eriksen because I've been in midfield there when you come and get the ball off your goalkeeper or something. It's a worse place. Now, Eriksen must do far better. You could imagine the reaction if that was a Fred or a McTominay losing the ball in that situation. I think Eriksen should do better, but ultimately put in a shocking position by David De Gea and the rest of the defence. But what does Erik ten Hag do now? Because points are his job is on the line, wrongly so, but his job is on the line. So what does he do? Does he stick to that? Does he tell David De Gea, Luton Shaw, and Harry Maguire to keep playing? Or does he say, no, launch it?
Stick to the plan. You need to stick to the plan.
But is that going to be another 6 or 7 5-0 defeats?
If that, don't start him. This is now where he has to go. All right, 2 games in a row, you let me down. This is not how I want to play. I mean, this is how I do want to play, but These errors, you saw that second error. David De Gea had all the time in the world. Maguire took forever. These guys are pressing. They're man marking everyone. When Ericsson comes in to show for the ball, you don't pass it to Ericsson. You skip lines and you give it to whoever was behind him there, whether it was Fred or Ronaldo was tucked in or whatever. That's where you play the pass. Everyone else is marked. But these decisions need to be made quicker. You need to see the play 3 steps or 2 steps at least ahead of when you receive the ball. He needs to stick to his guns, right? He needs to. If Varane can play them, because a lot of people are saying, why is Maguire playing and Varane's on the bench? Let's not forget, Varane just is coming back from an injury. Last time Oli brought him in, just after he was injured, he got re-injured again, right? So we don't want that to happen. We seen it when Klopp came in. He had a system. Liverpool were conceding 3 goals, but they had the bottle and the nous to come back and create and score 5. And that season they did it how many times? What happened? He got some of his players in. The next season, a bit better. A lot of them goals with Van Dijk and Alisson in the back. A lot of them 3 goals turned into 1 goals or 2 goals. And then the next season, you can barely now score against them. You got to stick to the plan. What happened with Pep? Pep had the luxury of Joe Hart not good enough to play out from the back. You're getting Claudio Bravo. After 1 season, you're gone as well. He has the luxury, right? Fair enough. Why can't we do the same?
Well, you say that's a luxury. It shouldn't be a luxury. We're Manchester United. We should have the same right.
In terms of everyone else in the league, Klopp probably didn't have that luxury to get rid of Alisson after 1 season, or Arsenal probably won't have that luxury to get rid of whatever 50 million, whatever the keeper was bought at the time. They don't have the luxury. Us, we need to be like, hey, you're the most, you get paid the most out of all the keepers in the world, and it's clanger after clanger. Why do you think the whole Brentford team is in our 6-yard box? Because David De Gea can't catch a cold. He can't demand his box. We've said so many times he can't do it. Get someone else in. Why is this guy still our goalkeeper? I know we all love him because last season he saves us. He only saves us because of our defensive shit. Everyone, when he gets the shot stopping, is great. But what was that first goal? Get your hand to it. You should be stopped with your feet. Last week against Brentford, the first goal.
The saves, I've no issue. Look, I have an issue when he lets the goal in like that. In terms of shot stopping, when he makes a mistake, shot stopping wise, I've got no issue because he makes 10,000 other saves. It's the issues with the feet that I can understand and accept. Issues with the hands. If he lets one in through his legs, well, he saved 10,000 that he shouldn't have saved. So I can afford him that opportunity for mistakes. I don't like it. I share my frustration. My issues with David De Gea, and not in regards to a priority in selling him, is the potential suitability to playing in an Eric Ten Hag system.
I'm not saying get rid of him, but bring someone else in. Then now you got Tom Heaton as the guy that's applying the pressure on De Gea. Are you kidding me? When Henderson came in, who started playing better? David De Gea. Nah, I'm the number 1 keeper. He saved our asses how many times? Now that he's the only keeper again this season, we're howler after howler. And that's the thing. No. Like, how many times is it? Are we going to be talking about David De Gea? Can't play out from the back. Distribution is rubbish. Every time we're up, we have a corner. They're in our 6-yard box. Why? It's obvious why. Every team knows it. You got a team that's come up from the championship last season. Yeah, no worries. We got a corner. We're in the box. And how many times will we concede? No matter. And I see a lot of it in the comments and on Twitter and all that about Martinez. When was the last time ever in football history was a centre-back's height mentioned ever? Because in 2006, when Italy won the World Cup and Cannavaro got the Ballon d'Or, no one said anything about his 5'9" height.
Well, it's my next point. I want to discuss Martinez. It's a good segue. And look, I completely agree, Borche.
Let me touch on that another thing. Because last season when we conceded that, it was that Villa game where Bruno missed the penalty. They scored 88th minute. Paul Pogba's on the post, and Cavani, the smallest guy, is marking their tallest player. So what's the difference here? And we still consider a goal. There's no difference. Now that Arsenal wasn't complaining or mentioning the height when he was their priority signing for Arteta, his height wasn't mentioned. Koundé's height for when he was linked to Chelsea and now at Barca, 5'9", 5'10" as well. No one mentioned his height. But now, all of a sudden, these guys...
Well, at this point, and look, I just want to throw Martinez in there because as you mentioned the Arsenal links here, and Scott from It's a Football Thing. Good to see you, mate. Obviously here after a Man United loss, but you are more than welcome. Make sure you do go and follow It's a Football Thing live on Tuesdays and Thursday nights. It says here, saw this exact issue with playing out from the back early under Mikel Arteta, insisted on the philosophy without the personnel, got to stick to the guns and get players who will do it. So in regards to players who will do it, Josh, we're just talking about Martinez there in regards to, I'm with Borche, I don't buy into I buy into the physicality in regards to football and whole, not the heading ability, because obviously you can tear up stats where Martinez is more aerial sort of superior to other defenders. So I just think the physicality in general, in terms of running, winning duels, how your fitness holds up and things, that's where I don't have concerns, but my questions are towards Lisandro Martinez. But in regards to there, in terms of playing out from the back, Martinez is one of those players who's come in. Obviously, an Eric Ten Hag signing. Is that enough for Eric Ten Hag to continue to play that way? Because he's got one of his tools in there now, even if Diogo Dalot, Harry Maguire, David De Gea, Luke Shaw can't do that. Like, how do you see it going forward? With Eric Ten Hag trying to get his message across to players who seemingly aren't capable.
I see you got to stick by your guns. 100% agree with that point. But I know hindsight's a fine thing, and people can say you're only saying that because we lost 4-0 yesterday. But I said at the start, I had a conversation with my dad a couple of hours before kickoff, and I said we should have started with 5 at the back yesterday. Martinez sort of was like a holding, not so much in midfield, but holding sort of the 2 centre backs. It's a fine thing, hindsight, and look, I think he's definitely got the capabilities to play with the philosophy of Eric. I think moving on to back to the point with the keeper as well. You mentioned that De Gea doesn't have the capabilities to play out at the back, and I think you raised an interesting point on Twitter, Tom. United just needs to be just get the balls out and literally just get rid of the players that aren't good enough.
Well, that was my next point. I was going to throw to Borche, and you can put your 2 cents in as well, Josh. But in regards to, I need action today. I need something from the club to come out and do something. Now, a lot of the people will sort of see that as a signing. Go sign a Frankie de Jong, get Rabiot across the line, buy a new goalkeeper. In my opinion, yes, I'm not going to say no to that because I think we do need investment. My issue, which I play leaning more towards in regards to action, is make a statement, and the statement for me is sell someone. Sell someone who you're not expecting. So exactly. I'm going to use. I hate using this Marcus Rashford term in regards to. I feel like I scapegoat him a little bit. I try not to. But Marcus Rashford, if he's flirting with PSG, call his butt. Okay, go to PSG. I think that'll send shockwaves around football, around Manchester United. Okay, well, hang on. They're willing to get rid of the golden child in Marcus Rashford. I think that is almost more important than signing a player. I think. Now, I'm not saying Marcus Rashford should be sold. I'm not saying he should be sold. I think it would be almost chaos at the moment, really, in regards to sort of our options, especially in the attack and third of the pitch. However, we talked about the investment. Ralph Rangnick, how many clips of Ralph Rangnick have we seen over the last 24 hours in terms of he was right in regards to saying this team needs open heart surgery? Yes, we need 10 players to come in. But if 10 players are coming in, that means 10 players need to leave. And we haven't had 10 players leave. Okay, a few people left on free transfers, but were they sort of big parts of the squad? Probably not. So I look at here, and that might be Cristiano Ronaldo. Get rid of Ronaldo tomorrow. That might be the issue. Might be Marcus Rashford. Might be Luke Shaw. I think Luke Shaw is a possibility. I don't think it's a possibility of being sold, but it's somewhere where you could look. So Borche, in terms of that, obviously the signings are important. They're so important. However, if you're gun to your head at the moment, sell a big player or sign a big player now, what's the bigger statement or the more important statement?
I think you sign the player. If all these players want to leave, Rashford, you want PSG? I don't think so. You are part of the team that is the worst Manchester United team ever in history. No worries. Go with the 21s. I don't want to see you. Sancho, you too. England, you want to play for England in the World Cup? Sit on the bench. Ronaldo, you want to leave? No. Sit on my bench too. You can come here sitting down as well. I'll play Garnacho. I'll play the kids, whatever. These guys are the reason why we're in the position as well. I wouldn't sell them. Don't give them what they want. What? So Rashford can go play Champions League and win leagues and win titles like all the other guys that we sent. Ashley Youngs, they weren't good enough. And who else went to Inter? Sanchez, and who else was there? Lukaku.
Lukaku, the three of them went.
And Damian went there, and who else? They're all winning trophies. They all had the photo together. No, not this time around. Use are all on the contract. Pull your heads in, or go with the reserves, and I'll get them guys in. If they're going to listen and they're going to follow the philosophy. I would not give these guys the opportunity to go to a club, play Champions League football. PSG, you're going to win the league. That's a trophy there. You're going to go somewhere like Bayern Munich, or I don't know where all these other players want to go, or who would want to buy them anyways. I wouldn't let them go. The biggest statement for me is you are not going to play Champions League football. You're going to go with the under 21s. See you later. Yeah.
I think the biggest problem though is you've got it's easy said than done. You need to get rid of these players, and I 100% agree with you. If you don't want to be at the club, F off. Honestly, and look, Pep. I don't want to compare it to City, but the ballsiest statement Guardiola made when he first came to City was get rid of the keeper. That a lot of players. I know he had his critics, but a lot of fans, players saw him as world class, and that was Joe Hart, and it proved to be probably one of the best decisions he's made in football for that club. Yeah. For United, it's easier said than done signing a player now or getting rid of a player now. But look, we're 2 weeks away from or 3 weeks away from transfer deadline day. We've played 2 games of the Premier League season. We've lost on aggregate 6-1. What's the attraction to come to the club now? Who in their right mind of decent quality that's going to make our club better? I don't money, but of quality of players that are going to make our club better. Who's going to come in now at this stage? Great, like easier said than done. Sell players that don't want to be there, but I think the ownership and the hierarchy, I don't think they'll allow that to happen at this stage.
An interesting point in regards to bringing those players, who's going to want to come, and we always have that issue, or there's the narrative, okay, if we don't have the Champions League, will players come without the Champions League? And maybe Man United can sell it. Well, come here for one season, win the Europa League, get top 4, you'll be back in the Champions League. Now, yes, it's 2 games, it's very early in the league, but you're an idiot if you're not looking at the table already. Can we make the Champions League next season? The money would say no. So if you sign a Frankie de Jong, say, yeah, you're going to be in the Champions League next season, he'll say, hang on, you might be in the Championship next season, let alone the Champions League. So I think it's a very risky move.
We might have to go in and get loans with the option to buy it.
Yep.
Hey. Where were Arsenal this time last season? I tell you what, I'd take where Arsenal finished last season at this stage.
Oh, no, look, you're completely right. And as I said, I think we have a right to not overreact, but the right to be very emotional at the moment. It is 2 games. Now, unfortunately, as people have mentioned in the comments, Liverpool's our next game, so we could very well be going 0 points from 9. But there's a comment here, Borche, from Dion, and yes, we have tried to keep this football related. I think we've done a pretty good job at that. But he's saying getting caught up in the game of blaming this player or that player is missing the point, which look, I completely agree with. However, I think we are, which I agree, Dion, but also there are individuals who did sort of being held accountable. But on that, Borche, in regards to moving this away from the football pitch, and we do have to tie the football pitch still into this discussion. What can be done, like in terms of, okay, we know, okay, new owners, okay, that's not going to happen. Now, there is a little bit of a story out there. I don't really buy it at the moment. So what can be done? Because my hands are tied and I have no control. I don't know what the right answer is for Richard Arnold. Go out and buy the player who we're going to be spending too much money on, buy a player who doesn't want to be here. Eric Ten Hag, play someone who's not suitable, play a kid who's not ready. I just don't see what the right answer is. We all do starting 11s before the game and say this will work. None of it works. Whatever starting 11 we put out, ultimately we're going to look back at the end of the 90 minutes and go, hang on, that's not good enough. He shouldn't be playing. So there's no right answer for me. So give me some hope on what anyone can do. A player, a manager, a board level member, what can happen?
Exactly. Where do you begin? I think against Liverpool, stop the game again. Stop the game. And it's not because we're going to get smashed. It's not the purpose of, we're going to get pumped 6-7-0. That's not the case.
No, the statement, yeah.
Stop. Yeah, make a statement. Make sure the game doesn't go ahead. Invade the pitch. Get points deducted. Make sure they get hit with a fine. The guys over there in America, make sure they get hit with a fine. And then the next home game, same thing. I don't give a fuck if we start, sorry to swear. I don't care if we're on minus 20 points, 30 points. But make sure every time that happens, 100,000, there's a fine. And when they start checking their, hey, hold on a minute. What's happening here? Is that going to make them realize? Let's get these deductions and make sure the games don't go ahead. When away games, these players, if another away game, there's 7 away games in a row now, all lost. We've taken L's, 7 in a row. Next away game, yeah. Make sure the bus doesn't leave. You don't want to train after 5 o'clock. Make sure you're at the exit at Carrington. Don't leave. To 10 p.m.
On that point, Josh, Borche, which look, I completely agree with in terms that now I'm selfish. I'm here at 3 o'clock in the morning. I want to see Man United play, but ultimately the bigger picture is there. How can we sort of implement change? And that is obviously putting as much pressure on the Glazers as physically possible. And a huge issue, which we did see amongst the European Super League, that fallout was the match against Liverpool was postponed. Now, obviously, we're not sitting here sort of condoning sort of unruly sort of protests and sort of thing. But in terms of the idea of protesting, we're all fully behind.
I am.
But in regards to that's not going to achieve anything.
But
that's not going to achieve anything. I think it needs to be done the right way.
Yeah, but the right way, the fans we've been patient. I've coming in optimistic. We've been patient. What's the right way? The right,
Yeah,
nothing
no,
is,
I don't know the right way, but I know the fans getting on the wrong side of the media, the fans getting on the wrong side of the club is not going to help. So
United are too big to mount any protest, and that's just the scale of our fan base. I mean, you ask like fans to boycott a game, yeah, you know, like I reckon a good proportion you'd see a lot of empty seats, but United are massive, and you know the fans that come overseas or the fans that you know really want to experience Old Trafford, they don't give a shit. They want. Funny scenario, right? Our friend, your co-host Larry's in England, or he was in England at the moment, right? They say you go to him and you say, you know what, Larry, you've not been told Trafford in 3, 4, 5, 6 years, however long it is. You know, I want you to boycott this game. It's first time in England in 6 years. You think you'd do it?
Yeah.
You know, it's a big ask for a lot of fans.
Exactly right. It's hard, and you can't tell fans that just cancel your season tickets. It's very hard to do. Do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, and like I get it, the whole don't buy the kits and don't buy merchandise. Yeah, I did it for 10 years. Didn't buy a single kit for 10 years, or not the original ones. And what happened? Nothing. Nothing happened. I did my part. Still nothing happened. Like everyone can choose to support their club however they want. That's up to everyone else, right? That's why the games need to be stopped. You need to stop the games, because then I get it. Fans come from overseas. They probably spent a fortune to come and watch that one game, and it gets cancelled. So be it.
You stop the games when you get a point deduction. What I mean, you know, they threaten point deductions. Yeah, we're rubbish anyway. We're probably not going to go any higher than 10th, 11th. But you know what? Hindsight's a fine thing, and I quite fancied, you know, a season in the Championship, cracking away games.
Look, how long have I been saying that, Josh?
Yeah.
How long have I been saying? And look, I don't want to be losing games to sort of warrant a place in the Championship, but ultimately, I think. And what do you think in this regards, Borche? Here we are, as sort of, I don't like to call us a fan channel, but I guess on YouTube talking, it's kind of a fan channel in regards to. I think, look, I love Manchester United fans. As I said, we're down in Melbourne, and my favourite thing about Manchester United isn't the football, isn't the players, is sort of hanging out with mates and fellow Manchester United fans. However, I do have, whether it's a dislike or I'm not sure what the correct wording is, but towards a large section of our fan base on how they support the club, how they maybe their behaviour towards certain things in regards to the club. I would love nothing more than a season in the Championship, which would weed out, I think, and maybe tell me this is an overreaction, Borche. I think if Manchester United went to the Championship, I think a good, maybe this is over the top, but I'd say 65, 70% of fans would leave. Now, that would leave a 30%, 40% core of Manchester United fans who love the club, who would stay with the club and support them through thick and thin. Now, I would love nothing more to sort of get rid of that part of the fan base. Now, obviously, Man United aren't going to play in the Championship. I don't want Man United to get relegated, but there are positives which I'm clinging to in this sort of horrible state we're in at the moment. But in regards to that, okay, get games called off. I agree with the sentiment. It's something that if action is taken off the back of that, I fully agree with and I like it. If that's not going to happen, as I say, Manchester United are very prepared. They saw what happened with that Super League match. They're very prepared to sort of stop things like that happening now. Players will get to the ground 3 hours earlier and they will play behind closed doors if they have to suit the TV money. What visual can Man United do? Okay, protesting down Sir Mark Busby Way, that's fantastic. Get behind it, show your support. There's a bit of a report. I don't know how reliable this is. It has happened in other countries to quite good effect. Tennis balls at Old Trafford look like they could potentially be involved against the Liverpool match. Tennis balls be thrown on the pitch. That'll be a visual. But is there any type of visual, or the only visual is empty seats?
Let's be real, yeah. Like I say all these things, yeah. They will probably not happen. In terms of visuals, empty seats. Is anything really going to change? In 2005, the protests in 2005, you know, people are calling them biblical. And what happened? They still bought the club.
Empty seats
yeah, that's exactly right. Like they don't care. Their pockets need to be hit hard, and it's that stopping the games, not getting the revenue. People are still going to go to the games. You can't tell people not to go. Like Josh is saying,
on that point,
tourists is coming. A lot of them don't care. Like I see, you know, when kids only want the shirt. Like little kids, young kids, they want the. They don't know what's happening behind the scenes. Oh yeah, we're losing, but yeah, I still like Man. I still like Rashford. I still like Ronaldo. They're still selling Ronaldo shirts. The parents are still going to buy their shirts for their kids, and that's not going to change. In terms of a visual, I just don't know. I don't know what else can be done. Do we go back with the planes? Do we just keep flying planes over of Glazers out? Hasn't worked in the past. It didn't. It barely worked with trying to get Wenger out at Arsenal with the planes and everything, and what do you call it, and Moyes and all that. Like, it's just I don't know where we go, bro. I really
Well,
don't.
you mentioned Arsenal there, and Scott from his football thing here saying the whole stopping games thing will make a statement, but it could throw your club into an even bigger hole, totally turn on Eric Ten Hag, disenfranchise the whole squad. So just on that point,
that's what should happen. Like Ten Hag, if he's not back in this window now, in 3 weeks, if he doesn't get players in, he should walk. Ten Hag should walk.
Yes, that would be a bigger statement now, Josh. Now Eric Ten Hag's not going to walk. However, that would be the ideal statement. Yeah, potentially. But that's not going to happen. He's getting paid.
To save his own career. Go, you know what? Hold on a minute. They sacked this guy.
Forget his career. You're completely right, but forget his career. The statement that would make to Man United in terms of this new big manager walking out, I think that would talk about getting games called off. I think the manager walking out is even 10 times bigger than that. But Josh, in regards to that, this will trickle down to on the field, and obviously at the end of the day, we're playing Liverpool in a couple of days' time. Okay, do we want empty seats? Do we want the game on? When the game kicks off, we want to win. We're not thinking about Glazers. We're not thinking about players' wages. We want the red shirts to beat the other shirts. That's what we want. How is this going to trickle down into ultimately what we're sort of the start of this podcast with Eric Ten Hag and his implementing his sort of football on this team? It's not something he needs. Now, it's something the club needs, and the club is bigger than Eric Ten Hag going forward. But at the moment, this is a hell of a distraction, and it's not helping him.
Not at all. I mean, whatever happens against Liverpool, for me, it's a lose-lose situation. You get the fans protesting it, you might achieve something in the short term, and that's a small win. I think ultimately that'll just have a knock-on effect of what happens on the pitch. I can't see anything positive happening. On the other side, you could say, halt the protest, get behind the fan, get behind the team, give a great atmosphere. I still think Liverpool are a better team than us and will win on the day anyway. So it's a lose-lose situation for me. Results or protest. It's going to get a lot. We said this last year, and it's a statement we're going to say for probably a long time now, but it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better.
Well, Borche, on that point, Borche, Josh makes there in regards to, we saw this last season when there was a bit of sort of unrest, Rafael Varane, Jadon Sancho, and then ultimately Cristiano Ronaldo walks through the door, quiet from the fans. And I understand, like, the excitement building towards the start of last season, you could understand that, but ultimately the fan base, I don't want to say failed, but kind of let the ball slip. Frankie de Jong walks through the door tomorrow, or they sell Scott McTominay and Fred for 100 million. Will the fans go quiet, or do you think we're at the stage now, regardless of results, regardless of shiny new toys, do you think the hat's over the wall, and no matter what, even if we win our next 15 games, do you think now the situation is done, that every fan will keep their eye on the ball now?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I don't think now you could get some miracle Mbappe comes in, Neymar joins him as well, and you know what? Messi as well wants to come, the last dance with Ronaldo, and I don't think any fan is buying it anymore. I just don't think they're buying it.
You're right, but then I talk about that 70%. I talk about weeding those fans out. Do you think potentially, well, we say that in terms of proper fans, yes, we'll keep our eye on the ball, yes, but for the majority of the fan base, when we talk about the majority, it is a huge majority. In terms of hardcore proper fan, I don't want to use proper fans as a disrespectful way, but I think everyone knows what I mean. It's a very small percentage in terms of who the Glazers pander to and who the Glazers target and who the board do sort of want to interact with in terms of that majority of the fan base. I think they would potentially cave if not obviously Mbappe is not going to sign, but if an Mbappe or a Neymar or Messi came in, I think potentially they would sort of go quiet.
Yeah, possibly, but there has to be results. There has to be results. Like you said, if there's 15 games that we win on the back of that, or all right, let's be realistic. They get even Anthony de Jong comes in, and I don't know, Timber, for example, comes in now, the last couple of days of the transfer window, and we start seeing results, but also the football's getting better, then you still got to have these reservations. Why aren't we getting this done early? These guys were the first place to get linked. That should have been done over the line. But still, questions need to be asked of this whole. Because to be honest, I gave him a chance in terms of the new directors and the board and Richard Arnold. They're saying all the right stuff. They don't want to splash the cash and just get rinsed. I was on board with that. But you went to the pub. You went to the pub with these guys. You said that we're backing the manager. We did all that. Nah, forget it. You lied again. Where's Fletcher? Where's Fletcher in all this? You were on the bench once, then you're meant to be a scout, or you're a director. Where are you now in all this mess? Show your face. You wanted to be on the touchline directing plays to the players. Where are you now? And
on that point, Borche makes there, Josh, in regards to Darren Fletcher, and look, I completely agree. But I find Darren Fletcher as one of sort of a club legend in my eyes, and someone I have the utmost respect for. I find it hard to go in on, but I completely share the frustration. I do have the same questions. But Josh, the issue on Darren Fletcher, what does he do? Is he director of the football? Is he a coach? Or whatever he's doing, in my opinion, this comes on not Eric Ten Hag in a critical way, but Eric Ten Hag, next press conference, Simon Stone asks a question to Eric Ten Hag, what does Darren Fletcher do? What do you want him to do? And Eric Ten Hag, I think he comes across very honest in his interview. He should come out and say, I don't know what he does, almost like what Ralph Rangnick does, or he's doing this, or no, I want him as a coach, and that'll just give clarity, whether we like it or don't like it. It'll give clarity, but there is so much sort of mud in the water around Darren Fletcher. And Darren Fletcher's not the issue with Manchester United, but it's just another sort of issue.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the thing to be like, what really are you? You know what I mean? Like, you're meant to be scouting the players, or you're meant to be coaching the players, or where are you meant to be here? Like, why are you here? Why has Ralph gone? Why has he walked or been sacked? Because you're here. You haven't had this experience. Ralph has built clubs before. We've been linked to all these players that everyone wanted. Liverpool got what do you call it? Darwin Núñez, all right, whatever people might think of him. Vlahovic went to what do you call it? To Juve. Alvarez went to City. All these players that Ralph wanted, all of a sudden the whole world wants them. So who's scouting for us then? Where's his scout?
Yeah.
That's my whole thing. What is he doing, or where are these scouts? Who are they identifying?
It's easy to blame. It's easy to blame Fletcher when you don't know what his position is, and I think that goes for the point of the recent hirings we've got as coaching staff. I mean, look, we recently got Benny McCarthy as a coach. Tom Huddleston's coaching the under-21s, and you look at players like that, and Tom Huddleston, I think that's
he could do a job. He could do a job in midfield.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, look, you've got to start somewhere with coaching. I mean, under-21s, it's not. There's nothing in that for me.
But you know what?
Benny McCarthy, I get. Like, you look when you get a coach for an elite club like United, you want to be hearing, this person's coached under Guardiola or coached under Klopp, or he's had some sort of good sort of education behind him. That's sort of, I think for me, that's a knock-on effect for Fletcher. You're seeing, you're getting these coaches in. Well, what's Fletcher doing? Is he up there? Is he down there? Is he on the pitch? Is he coaching?
That's what I mean. It wasn't really blaming Fletcher for anything. It's a questions like, bro, we need help. What, like, from my understanding, if I go on Wikipedia, you're sporting director, or you're some sort of director. So we need help now. A football director is meant to help out the manager in terms of bringing players in. I haven't seen any of that. I haven't seen him being mentioned in any scout thingies, or trying to bring players in, or meeting with players, or anything like that. That's the
thing. Like, he might not be.
It's the other guy with him. Who's that? Myrtle or whoever? Myrtle Madness. Myrtle Sadness at the moment for everyone here. I don't know what they're doing, man. I just don't understand.
But he brings a point up here.
Right? And you had the conversation in the pub with Richard Arnold. What was that? Or was it Myrtle? Whoever it was, 2 or 3 months ago, when he has that conversation with the fans at the pub, and he's like, "We're burning money. We're burning money, right?" And you want to. Do we get to a stage now, but we want to do the same thing now? We want to burn money on players to get them in the door, or do we still want to stand by what he said? You know what? The right player's not come. We don't sign him. It's a lose-lose situation.
But I think both points you sort of alluded to in regards to the criticism isn't so much directed at Fletcher personally. It's in regards to someone say what his job is. Because as say, he might see there's a comment here from Noah milking the job more than Darren Fletcher the fraud. Now, that's why I don't like to go into in regards to him, because and I were outside the hotel in Melbourne looking for Darren Fletcher's autograph. So I definitely don't want to go into the sort of side of calling him a fraud, because he might be doing his job to perfection. We just don't know what his job is. And that is where I need someone above him or Eric Ten Hag to come in and say, this is what he does. If the answer is I have no idea what he does, come out and say that and give the fans clarity, because at the moment, here we are, scapegoating individuals. Suddenly we've gone on to Darren Fletcher's the issue with the club. Now, no one's saying that, but that's how this conversation is going. Suddenly in 5 minutes we'll go, no, Marcus Rashford's the issue. Harry Maguire's the issue. Ultimately, everything's the issue, but there's been one constant. Darren Fletcher's come and gone. Marcus Rashford's come and gone. Harry Maguire will come and go. There has been one constant over the last decade. Even before that, even the last couple of years under Sir Alex Ferguson, he papered over the cracks. There's been one constant. And ultimately, we sit here and we all know this. So it's so frustrating because we can't fix it. Maybe we can fix it, who knows? But ultimately, until that changes upstairs, we're going to always have these little issues which we're The Glazers will sit back. I say this all the time, Josh. The Glazers literally sit back. When we're talking about Ronaldo, they sit back. They're talking about, does Ronaldo love the club? They're talking about his Champions League ambitions. They're talking about Marcus Rashford, and they're talking about Harry Maguire's captaincy. They're talking what side Harry Maguire lines up in the tunnel. They're not talking about us. And I'm just thinking the Glazers absolutely love and here we are, we're doing it. But the Glazers absolutely love what we're doing.
I know you've been dying to say it, Tom. Using McDonald's analogy, which you used before. Do you blame McDonald's or do you blame the kids that flip the burgers?
Yeah, okay. I'll put on Twitter, Borche, in regards to that. And actually, not many people usually agree with me. So when a few people do agree with me, I'll take advantage of it. But in regards to that, it was in regards to Jamie Redknapp comments. Jamie Redknapp said, no, the Glazers and United, they've spent billions. They've spent billions of pounds. They've backed the managers. You need to start blaming the players. And I looked at it, and I don't know why McDonald's came out, but I said, if McDonald's spend billions of pounds hiring these kids who spit in the burgers and show up late for work and can't flip a burger, who are you going to blame for the shit service at McDonald's? You're going to blame the kids, or you're going to blame the people who keep hiring them and rewarding them for failure? I just think ultimately you have to sort of look upstairs and blame McDonald's. And ultimately we're blaming all these little individuals at the club. And I know all of us do here agree that the Glazers are the issue, but it's not how it comes across in regards to how we discuss these things and how the media portray things.
Yeah, 100%. And we all know the Glazers have come in. They've paid $1 billion on this debt, and we're still 600 million in debt in the last 15 years, 17 years. So, and like I was telling you guys off camera, if anyone goes into the mega store and buys a 10 cents plastic bag that they put the kits in, you put more money into the club than the actual Glazers. That's where the problem is. Because Sheikh Mansour takes money out of his own pocket. Abramovich took money out of his own pocket. Yeah,
it's not only that, which you're completely right, Borche, but it's taking the money out. Man United could function in terms of the money we generate.
Exactly
well, we don't need that. We don't need that sugar daddy, but it's the money coming out.
Yeah, exactly right. They just took out a couple months ago, a month or so ago. They took money out for what? What reason? You're rewarding yourself for what? No Champions League. Is that what no trophies in 5 years? You're rewarding yourself. But your daughters are you're taking money out of the club so your daughters can open up a business so they can go on holidays. You're taking loans out of the Manchester United. This is where people need to realize. There's guys that are rinsing the club. They're rinsing the club, and I just don't like the comment there. Tom Brady, they bought this. They what money did they use for that?
Yeah.
Where Tampa Bay bought Brady, they won the Super Bowl, and they're lifting the trophy like they played. It's not nothing's gonna change. Like I don't even know. I don't even know. Honestly, Tom, I don't know where we go, man. Because these owners, we can talk about the owners all day and everything that they've done in the last or haven't done in the last 15 years or so. But at the same time, the Glazers being in charge doesn't whether new owners come in doesn't mean Maguire is gonna all of a sudden get better football IQ or the players are gonna like how is Brentford running more Ks than us? Look at the stats. They're running all over the
pitch. Think just that point on Brentford and Brighton as well, and I'll direct this towards Josh, and we'll start to wrap up. So just one or two more points. But Josh, on that point Borche makes there, and you can tie this into Brighton and Brentford themselves, and whoever Bournemouth probably in a couple of weeks, and Norwich, or not that Norwich are in the league, but we sort of praise up these players, and we look at quality. Okay, Jadon Sancho, quality, 75 million, plays for England, tore it up at Dortmund, good player. Okay, Bruno Fernandes, all those goals and assists. Okay, Rafael Varane, World Cup winner, Champions League winner. Ultimately, when we see all these other players from a Brighton or a Brentford, and you watch them play football and you think, well, hang on, he's better than that player. Yeah, he's better than that player. And Man United aren't going to get relegated. But if you start looking at the teams in and around that sort of area, you think, well, hang on, no, they are better than us. No, that's not a shock that they beat us. Maybe 4-0 is a shock. But Brentford, yeah, you can understand how they beat Man United. And ultimately, obviously, we're not as good as we think we are. Now, a lot of people sort of don't think we're any good. But in terms of the individuals, and obviously you can say Cristiano Ronaldo or you can say Scott McTominay, whatever end of the scale, ultimately, if you look at it, it's just not good enough. Well, I think I know this is the case. We're all guilty of it. But we talk these players up, or not so much talk them up, but we think of them far too much. I feel sorry for Marcus Rashford in regards to how his career sort of skyrocketed. He went from zero to hero overnight. And a lot of us think of him at that hero level in regards to we thought, okay, he's going to continue on that progression. No, maybe it was just a fine patch of form, and he was never going to be that player, and he is just the player that he is. But we have the expectation of him. He was going to come on be this world-class player, which was never the case. So we're holding him to this standard, which is unachievable and it's unfair, potentially unfair. And I just think, and that is where I hate being critical of a player, because here I am, I'm very critical of him. But ultimately, maybe it is a little bit unfair.
But Tom,
you're only as good as your last game. You are only as good as your last game. I mean, look, there's no denying. Let's be honest. Marcus Rashford is a better player than Ivan Toney. That is a fact. He's a better player. He's more naturally gifted.
Yes,
but when you're not playing to your potential, you can look so much better. Look, someone said on the radio yesterday, look, if the quality's not there and not turning up, you're going to get beaten every time. You can get beaten.
But that's part of it. You're right in talking about the quality. But in terms of, here, Josh, and you've had this discussion for years, and we always bring it up every time we're having a beer, Scott McTominay and Andreas Pereira. A huge part of being a good player is turning up and being able to perform, not just the quality. I look at myself here, not to big myself, look, I'm no good, didn't make it as a footballer. However, I look at it, if I was to have a crossbar challenge or something, me and Phil Jones, I know I'd be better at it than Phil Jones. I know I have better technique. I'm not a better player. He's 10 times better because he's able to perform at the higher level. He's able to do things that I can't do. But ultimately, as a footballer, Marcus Rashford has unreal quality. But to be able to produce that and do the basics, he can't.
Yeah, but at the same time, like that problem stems from the recruitment in terms of who they brought in after Sir Alex and who hired him. Like you said, the whole McDonald's thing. Who hires these guys? All right, so all right. Fergie put David Moyes in charge, but then you wanted Mourinho because you thought, all right, look, Pep down the road, he's got an upper hand on Pep in Serie A, in La Liga. Let's get Mourinho in. So they got all, and then you got Van Gaal, and then you got look at the managers that have come across. So when you look at Marcus Rashford, for example, like we're just speaking about him, why does he look lost? Because he's played under fucking 15 different managers, and the system from the youth all the way to the first team is completely different. Where Brentford,
it's unfair. It's right, but it is unfair at times, I believe, because of the circumstances, whether it be Marcus Rashford or other individuals.
Exactly right. And you look at and this is where like we hate bringing it up because it's the players playing, but this is where the owners. This is like, what is the philosophy? Where do you want the club to go? You need to have the under 18s, under whatever, playing a certain type of football, right? All the way up to the first team. That's how it has to be. Brighton, the guy from Brighton came out and goes, yeah, we from the 18s, whatever, we played the same football all the way up. In case someone gets injured, we've got mass injuries. No worry, this player might come in, knows the system. He might not have the quality. He might not be the best in that position, but he knows the system and play it here, run there. They're the runs you should make. But they don't have it here because the investment from the owners hasn't been put into the youth. We got the women's team squatting to go to the toilets at the training ground because they haven't got facilities for them. And we're Manchester United, the girls in Portaloos. Are you taking the piss?
Well, that's a huge point. I mean, one I've raised with Tom many times in this podcast is that our infrastructure is just so inferior to the rest of the teams around us. I mean, you look at Spurs, and Spurs probably a very similar club to us, but they're probably best in class at a lot of things at the moment. Training grounds, women's team as well, sort of matching the men's at the moment in terms of the quality. You've got a world class stadium now. You've got a world-class youth system, which probably mirrors Man City and Liverpool at the moment in terms of attracting the young kids that are going to be next in their team. United are just so far behind, lacking in everything. I mean, there was a time, don't get me wrong, last year, winning the Youth Cup, I think, and I asked this question to, who was on your podcast the other week, Tom? Ben Thornley. Asked this question to Ben Thornley. I said to him, do you not think this was really, really underrated, winning the FA Youth Cup last year? Considering the absolute state of our infrastructure, to win a Youth Cup with our quality of youth recruitment at the moment compared to the likes of City, Liverpool, Spurs, Chelsea even as well. Dare I say it as well, Arsenal. Unbelievable achievement. Unbelievable. Is
that a fear? Look, you're completely right, Josh. Is that a fear, Borche, in regards to here we all are, unanimous amongst the fan base? Get rid of the Glazers. Glazers out. Now, let's not get into Michael Knight. No, I don't think he's serious in this bid, but let's say he's going to come in and buy the club. In terms of buying that club, now, obviously, there's businesses involved, there's investment companies and everything. It's not just one person, but let's say just one person, a sugar daddy comes in. Well, what's Man Utd valued at? A couple of £1 billion. Okay, so you're going to need someone with a couple of £1 billion to buy the club and sort of waive off that debt. Ultimately, though, Borche, the issues that need addressing at this club, in terms of potentially new stadium, the infrastructure around the training ground, these are multi-million, billion-dollar sort of costs labelled at the club. So you're not just going to need someone with 3 or 4 billion to buy the club. You're going to need someone with 20 billion to address the issues.
No, exactly right. And I think Stephen Howson, I sent a video today or yesterday, he made that point. He's like, yeah, you're going to need 4 billion to buy the club, but can you also finance the debt? Can you also fix the training grounds? Can you also fix this? And can you also, regardless of all of that, fix the leaks in the roof? Okay, you don't want a new stadium. We can't afford that now. Let's patch it up. Let's patch it up as best as we can, right? Then the training grounds. Can we get better training grounds for the women's team? Better facilities. And that's not even thinking about the first team. That's that open heart surgery that Ralph was talking about. We still need that fixing. So that's another 300. They need to spend, if for our season to get anywhere near saved, they need to spend 300 million by the end of the window. You got 3 weeks, 300 million needs to be splashed. I know we went back to don't get rinsed. We burnt money. Burn it again. Burn the money again, because otherwise, I don't know. Yeah, championship. We're gonna have to change the logos, change all our templates, everything. Do you know what I mean? For next season, I can't use the same ones. We're gonna have to. I don't know what the theme tune's there. I don't know what channel we're watching that on, but it's gonna be that. And yeah, you're right. Whoever comes in and buys the club, it's not just the 4 billion. It's the rest of the stuff that comes with it. Can you finance the debt?
Well, just on that point, Josh, the Borcho makes there in regards to issues around, training ground, leaks in roof, and you laugh at that, but that is an issue at Old Trafford, unfortunately. So all these little issues, and you think, well, does that make McTominay misplace a pass? Does that make Fred's first touch? Does that make Harry Maguire's leadership? They're two separate issues that shouldn't affect. However, if you do look at the clubs who are successful, if you do look at Liverpool, if you do look at Tottenham now in terms of what they're doing, a few people bring it here, Ryan saying, not just plays training ground, stadium, squad depth, operating strategy, light years ahead. So all the clubs who are proving successful at the moment, Tottenham, not that they're successful, but you know what I mean, they're on the right path. Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, City, all these clubs, Bayern Munich, they don't have these issues. They don't have leaks in the roof. The women's team do have toilets. They don't have these issues. So these are the issues that need, unfortunately, we want better first touch. We want better players. But ultimately, maybe these are the issues that do need addressing first.
Bro, is it
I wouldn't say that first, but I'm saying, look, a dodgy leak doesn't make Scott McTominay a better player. What I'm saying is, though, look, if you can't be asked to fix your surroundings, how can you expect your owners to be asked to fix the club and the players?
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you firsthand now, my seat at Old Trafford, row 13, South Stand 165, is wonky. Not because I piled on the pounds, but it's wonky. I tell you.
You have to weigh in. I have to do a weigh-in before you go next time.
Yeah. No, but in all seriousness, you can't. I mean, it's like saying if you don't take pride in yourself, how are you going to have? Your surroundings is going to take pride in. It's like when you furnish a home. If you don't take pride in it, it's just not going to. It's not going to look good. It's not going to look good on the outside.
Yeah, but even with the whole leaks in the roof, but McTominay is not going to fix a pass, whatever. He's even cut the grass in the training ground, made it shorter so that the passes are going around a bit quicker. If that has to happen on at Old Trafford, cut the grass shorter. But then again, like you forget all the tactics, forget everything else. You look at just the eye test. The eye test shows me that, and I said it when Mourinho was about to get sacked. I'm like, we can bring whoever we want in. It's the same players. They're not good enough. When Oli was in his time there, he was about to get sacked. I'm like, bring whoever you want. You can bring Pep, Klopp as the assistant, Ralph as the football director, have anyone. These players are not good enough. These guys need replacing. And I think it's a final straw now for all of them. Okay, that is it.
Just that point you make there, I was discussing with Larry, and Larry will be back hopefully sometime next week or maybe a little bit over a week. He'll be back on the podcast, obviously enjoying his trip to Europe and America. But we're talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and look, here we are sitting. I was a huge fan of Solskjaer. Yes, he needed to be sacked, of course. However, you look back, and this was my fear, and this was my dislike around the narrative him at the time, was when people were going over the top, because it was starting to tarnish his legacy, and I think he did not deserve it. It wasn't his fault. Yes, he needed to get sacked, but so many of the issues that the Glazers used him as a punching bag. That it was my fear at the time. I was thinking he doesn't need to be treated like this, because yes, he's probably not good enough. I understand that. But get someone in who is good enough, they're not going to fix the problem. So going in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was just stupid in my opinion, and that's what sort of did upset me. But we talk about the players there, Borche. I'll go to Josh. We'll start to wrap up. We're coming on to an hour on the podcast, which has been a great chat. I'm not sure I feel any better, They tell me it is always good to talk Man
Probably
United.
Probably feel worse.
But Josh, in regards to players,
I don't know if we put guys in the live chat as well. We can come up with 1 billion somehow, 4 billion. We can maybe, because all our ideas. I'm seeing some great ideas in the chat as well. Maybe there's a takeover bid. The consortium, the Pubcast consortium comes in, takeover.
Fingers crossed. I'll give myself the sack on the first day. I'll take the pay cut. I'll take the wage and go running. But Josh, in regards to that, players, this wasn't meant to be a review of the match. We did lose 4-0 at Brentford. 3-2-1s. Obviously, we're not going to get into 3-2-1 second game of the season. We've already ditched it. Obviously, no one deserving of those points. But Ryan, a little bit earlier in the chat, did make me smile. Smile? I don't know. Smile's not the wrong word. I'm not smiling. But we'll bring it back to football. Liverpool next week, 2-1 United. How are you thinking, Josh, in regards to this? Because usually there's, on match day, you get a little bit of hope and a bit of confidence. Or maybe they're going to have an off day. We're going to have a good day. Last time we played Liverpool, that feeling never came around before kickoff. We thought, no, we're going to get smashed 4-0. We went and got smashed 4-0. Maybe it's going to come around come match day next Tuesday morning our time. Ultimately, the way I'm feeling at the moment, is that Old Trafford? I understand, okay, there will be a bounce. We'll be interested what the mood is around the ground. Ultimately, though, as I'm sitting here at the moment, the feeling is, now we'll see what Liverpool do tonight against, or the next day against Crystal Palace. As I sit here now, I think it's 5 or 6-0.
Yeah, look, for me, I can't see anything other than a defeat at all. You could be one. We could play, defensively all right and still lose 1-0. I still
forget defeat. Forget defeat. I'm talking humiliation again.
Yeah. I can't see anything else other than annihilation. Liverpool have they had a dodgy first game. I can't see them dropping points against Palace. I think they're playing on Monday Night Football. I think they'll win that comfortably. I think for me, they'll just absolutely wipe the floor with us. We're low on confidence, and when you're low on confidence after a shocking performance like yesterday against Brentford, where you didn't lose out of bad luck, you lost because you couldn't really get the basics of football right. I can't see them getting the confidence to recover and put in a decent performance, even warrant a point against Liverpool. What I will say though is, if somehow, some way United managed to get something out of that game, I think the confidence to get out of that for the next 2 games against Southampton and I think it's Southampton and Leicester, maybe the next 2 games.
Wednesday international.
That's dreaming. That is
I'm waiting for the World Cup. I can't wait for the World Cup to come around.
We need an international break ASAP. I've never been so happy for international break. I'm looking at
I'll tell you what I can't wait for. I can't wait for you, me, and Larry, Tom, to get our Stan Sports subscription next month and cancel it in December.
I know I'll be keeping it for the Conference League. Well, when we get, who knows, just 4th in the Europa League group stage, go to the Conference League. But look, I've already Googled the conference final is in Prague next season. If anyone is interested in booking flights, I've already looked at accommodation because I'd love nothing more than to go to Europa Conference League final because I've looked at the teams in the Europa League. The situation we're in at the moment, that's not happening. And that's before the teams even drop down to the Champions League. Yeah. But we'll start to wrap up because it's clocked over an hour on my time. So Borche, obviously the link to Borche's channel, if you want more content from Borche, is in the description below. So go give him a follow. But so any parting words or anything I've missed, Borche, in regards to anything Man United related?
I don't know, man. Not really. But in terms of the Liverpool game, look, I know we lost our first game, but we did move our bench to the away side now. So, we've even tried that. We even tried to pretend to be the away team and we still get defeated. I don't know. Look, there's no hope at the moment. Hopefully, I don't know. No matter what we say, no matter what players come in the next couple of weeks or so, I don't know, man. Open heart surgery. Ralph said it. No one wanted to believe him, and here we are.
Well, here's Jose and Ralph Frank must just be sitting back with a cigar thinking, what did I say?
Even Ollie is probably joining. Ollie's brought the cigars to the party.
Must be international break soon.
I'll give my left hand, bro, for that Vibes FC. Remember the freestyle football, Tom, that everyone was talking about, Vibes FC, and that comeback, the away record for the comebacks, that doesn't mean anything. I'll take that right now, any day of the week, any of that football. But let's just fingers crossed something happens, and the season. I mean, it can only go up, eh?
Well, the longer you go losing, Josh, the closer we are to our next win. Now, is that going to come against Liverpool? Who knows?
We're 40 points away from safety.
We've already got our first trophy anyway, Bangkok Cup, so we can have that collection, if anything.
Well, if Liverpool lose against Palace, we'll only be 1 point off 1 point off Liverpool going into that match.
We should have it on display when Liverpool.
Relegation scrap.
Oh, would you love a relegation battle against Liverpool and like pip them on the last day, sort of thing?
The final day is going to be interesting, boys.
We're hoping the final day would be a title decider or maybe top 4 Champions League spot. We'll be looking at bloody Bournemouth and Leeds, looking at their results on Twitter. But it has been a pleasure. As I said, I'm not sure if I feel better after that chat. Probably I do, but it's one of those ones where you just do sort of have to get things off your chest and look at things through. It's not even 24 hours since the result, unfortunately. As I said, it was a 2:30 a.m. kickoff for us here in Sydney, but an absolute pleasure. Apologies, the live chat has been flying, so apologies for not getting to as many comments as I usually do, but I do appreciate all the opinions and the discussion in there. Big thanks, obviously, to Borche and Josh as well. Josh, I'll be meeting you Saturday, a couple of weeks, Saturday, 27th of August, the Man United Supporters Club will be at Scruffy Murphy's. As you can see, there's a banner below. If you are in Sydney and do want to sign up, we'll be having our first match tonight. It's a 9:30 p.m. kickoff, so we can get to bed early after the disappointment away at Southampton. If you are in Sydney, feel free to come down to the pub and have a few beers, come say hi, and we'll maybe record a podcast, etc. when we're down there. But absolute pleasure, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely, yeah.
I say pleasure, you know what I mean. It's been an absolute nightmare, but I did enjoy the chat. But until then, we'll chat to everyone. Who knows when a bit of breaking news? Who knows? Rabiot might be announced in a couple of minutes when the club hit the panic button and decide to get some news out there.
His mum added 50k on his wages.
If his mum lets him play. But until then, we'll chat to everyone soon. Until then, cheers. Bye.
Yes. Good night, guys.